Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm your host Josh, aka Jamore. Welcome to another installment of Jamore Interviews. Today I am interviewing the actor for Kabal in the new Mortal Kombat film and also has a part in the new Godzilla vs. Kong film, the amazingly talented and humble man, Daniel Nelson. How are you doing today?
Yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah, no, good. Thanks for having me. It's exciting to talk to you.
Yeah, now, before I get into the questions and say what I have to say, it's really such an honor to be speaking to you. Thank you for agreeing to doing this. I'm really glad to have you on, and I just hope you have a good time on the platform, and thank you, yes.
I'm sure I will, mate. Yeah, I hope I can entertain you and your viewers.
I'm sure you will. My first question to you is, what was your childhood like?
My childhood, man. Well, someone asked me this yesterday, I think the other day, after doing a stunt on set, and I guess I was pretty active. You know, I was always climbing trees and jumping off the roof of the house, and just trying to test the boundaries. So yeah, man, pretty active, and I wouldn't say I was a naughty child, but just loved being in the outdoors and running around.
That's kind of me, like now. Like I'm very much like outdoors, but when I was a little, no, I take that back, because when I was a kid. I remember one incident when I was outside and me and my friend were playing, and he grabbed like a piece of a toy, a Ben 10, it was like a railroad track, and he slapped me with it, and it hurt like crap. And that's one. Oh yeah, so I did used to play a lot outside with my friends when I could, but yeah, so I'm sort of like that. I love the outdoors, just going out and getting the sun, and I just love it so much.
Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, I didn't have any like PlayStation or Sega or anything growing up. So, we were sort of forced to use our imagination. And not that they weren't around, my parents didn't buy it for us. So, a lot of people are like, did you play the old Mortal Kombat? It's like, well, I did when I went to my friend's house, but I never had it as a kid because, I don't come from an extremely wealthy family. So we didn't have money for that sort of thing, especially with 4 children,
4 children? What was that like? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, good, mate. You got to compete for that last slice of pizza when it's pizza night. But no, yeah, I was the oldest of 3 boys, and I had an older sister.
And I couldn't deal with the brothers a little too much for me. So 4 other people added on, it sounds insane to me. But when did you realize that the entertainment industry was the right place for you?
I think from a very early age, I really liked the idea. Like I used to tell my nana that I wanted to be an actor and go to Hollywood. I came from a very small town in New Zealand, so when I was growing up, I sort of realised that wasn't a reality. But moving to Australia from New Zealand, there was a bit more bigger film industry, and I started to pursue it more when I was in my early 20s.
What did your parents think you were going to do when you were growing up?
They were really supportive of all my choices, my parents, and so I followed a sporting, desire, passion through my teenage years and right into my early 20s, and they were always supportive of that, even though it wasn't, I wasn't really going anywhere career-wise. I was just following that sporting career, and they were always happy to support me with that. And then when I moved into performing after the sporting career, there was a bit where it merged. I sort of started doing the sports less and they're performing more, and they were always supportive. I mean, they would ask me the question are you going to get a real job? But I think now, as they have seen my career progress, they stop asking me those questions.
Yeah. I was looking at your IMDb, and it's crazy, where you've come from and where you are now. You were in sort of these smaller budget films, you know what I mean? And now you're in Mortal Kombat and Godzilla, which are 2 big films that I believe both come out. No, Godzilla comes out in March, right? And then Mortal Kombat comes out in April?
That's right. Yeah, Godzilla comes out at the end of this month, and Mortal Kombat's mid next month, April. So yeah, mate. I did start off doing very small projects, and sort of had to work my way up. And a lot of people, their careers are very different. Some people get discovered right off the bat, and their first job is Mortal Kombat or something like that. Whereas I definitely had to chip away for I guess about 10 years from when I started doing extra work and short films and student films. And then yeah, I guess so. I started when I was 20, and then now I think when I was 30, I sort of got my first really big job, and I think that was Godzilla. I might have been 30 or 31, and I was like, oh, okay, this is starting to go somewhere, and yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with the path it's taken. I think sometimes if you get something straight away off the bat, you might be a little, you know, your headspace is different. Whereas the fact that I've had to work at it for so long, it's I really appreciate what I have now.
I can only imagine working in an industry so tough as that. Like the entertainment industry is very rough. I've spoken to a lot of voice actors, and the funny thing is, you're my first actor I've had on in a very long time. I'm really glad that you are. I'm really honored. I forgot to say, I'm really honored for you to be the second actor I've had on, because I mostly speak to like voice actors, but I really want to like branch into like actors and stuff like that. But back to my original point, there I was talking about how it's a grind, or it was a struggle. At times they did question their decision to come into the entertainment industry. There's a lot of failures, there's a lot of stuff like that. And my question to you is, which will lead into my another question, is how do you handle that voice in your head that's like, hey, this is going nowhere, just stop, like give up, like you need to do something else? How do you cope with that and like, no, I'm gonna keep going, this is going somewhere? Like, how do you deal with all that?
I think it's you have this overriding passion for what you're doing, that no matter whether it works out or not, you're just going to be happy that you had a crack at it. I think you do need to have, not necessarily a backup, but you need to have something that you're doing at the same time that you're happy with, and you're happy with your life, because it doesn't happen for everyone, you know. I'm really happy that my career is starting to take off, and but yeah, I think you just keep going, and you know, I have seen a lot of people who came through acting school and they've fallen by the wayside, and they gave up, I guess. But if it's something you really want to do, you'll just keep going. You know, you hear of stories like Alan Rickman, who didn't get his first acting gig till he was in his 40s. So you know, if you just keep chipping away, hopefully you get somewhere. And if you don't, I mean, you're going to be happy that at least you gave it a crack.
Absolutely. All this interviewing stuff, sorry to make it about me, but all this interviewing stuff is kind of just me like trying something. And I originally wasn't gonna keep going, but people were like, hey, you should keep going, Josh. I like this. You know, you got a fun personality. I was like, sure, I guess. I mean, this probably won't last. It'll probably last like 10 episodes and we'll be done. But now we're going on to like 40 plus, and it's like really crazy to me that I've gotten this far. So
well, that's good, man. And you know, you'll find that, I mean, for me, like, I've had a few people reach out and ask me to interviews, and I look at their page and I see how they conduct themselves, and if they do it in a professional manner, and you know, that'll make me decide on whether I want to like do the interview with them or not. So you know, I think if you're passionate about something, you're gonna make it work, and so long as you sort of you know, you're displaying a professional approach to it all on your social network and all that, it's going to make the person you're wanting to interview, I guess, accept the interview or not.
It's no secret we're in a global pandemic. How did you adjust? We're almost reaching a year. Can you believe that? We're like, the world shut down. People were buying toilet paper instead of vitamins, which is stupid, but people were buying all this crazy amount of stuff. So how did you adjust? Because obviously the entertainment industry was shutting down because they had to adjust to the pandemic, but how did you get adjusted to it all?
Man, I was really lucky that I had a job to go back to. So I think the pandemic kind of started just after we were out filming on Mortal Kombat. So we finished in December 2019, and then like January, February, it was starting to get serious. Then March, I think, is when everything sort of really happened. And you know, I missed my brother's wedding in New Zealand. I couldn't get back for that, and so there were things like that were disappointing. But I was really lucky to have. I used to work as a FedEx courier, so I was really lucky. The courier business was really going strong. People ordering online and stuff. So I was really lucky to have that job, because you know, you make good money when you're working on films, but if you just wanted to survive with that money, you're going to end up, you know, back to square one. And particularly through 2020, when there was no film work. You know, I was really lucky to have that job to go back to. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that I have, you know, I used to work as a waiter, like a lot of actors and stuff. You know, you have those small jobs that get you by. And then, you know, I'm not saying that I wouldn't go back to a job like that in the future if things get tough, you know. So, you know, I was really lucky. It was hard, I guess, coming off 2019, which is a really busy year for me, and then going back to, you know, a normal job like that. It was a bit of adjustment, and you're sort of wondering, God, wow, like what happened? But at the same time, everyone in the same boat, you know. So it was actually a good year for me. Me and my partner had a baby, and so it was a good year to do that because there was no work on, so I got to spend a lot of time with the baby when she was really young, and so 2020 was actually a really good year for me.
I'm really glad to hear that, because obviously 2020 it was rough for a lot of people in general. Having to stuck to your house, and you know, people losing jobs, unemployment rate, election year, protests. It was really 2020 was a really crazy year. We could all admit that it really was. But yeah, I'm just glad that it was really good for you. And congratulations on the baby. So
thanks, mate. Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 9 months now. She's in the room next door sleeping, so I'm trying to keep my voice down slightly. So I'm working on a job at the moment in a different city, so we've been putting up in a hotel, and so, you know, it's all very confined.
Oh, okay. Now I want to talk about, to go back to Godzilla versus Kong. How did you get involved with that, and what are you excited for fans to see in that film, without going into too much detail, of course?
No, yeah, you're right. I got it. I guess it was the right measurements and look to double Alexander Skarsgård, he's playing Nathan in the movie, one of the main actors, and I just got asked by a stunt coordinator that I'd worked for before, so I guess he knew. I hadn't worked with him very closely, but I worked with him on Pirates of the Caribbean, and I think a few people that were in his team knew me, so they sort of maybe suggested me, or when he asked what's Daniel like, they gave me a good rap. So that was, yeah, with stunts it's really like who you know sort of thing. So yeah, I was really happy that I got that role, and you know, there's not too many. Alex is 6'4", I'm 6'3". So it's not too many 6'4", 6'3" stuntmen in Australia. So I'm lucky. Don't have as much competition as some of the mid-range guys. Otherwise, it's a bit harder for them. But yeah. So he just asked me if I wanted the role, and I was really stoked. And they gave me a little acting role in the film too. So it was a really cool job for me. Yeah.
How do you keep your body in shape when doing all these stunts? Because obviously, I'm not saying you're old, but I'm saying when you get up there in age, things happen to your body. So what type of measures do you take to make sure you're in tip-top shape?
Stretching, lots of stretching, and when you do get bumps and bruises, I think it's just, you know, icing them, you know, at the end of the day, or if you're still sore the next day when you wake up, making sure you do those proper recovery things. You know, working as a stunt performer, you do, you know, it's just the nature of the job. You're going to get bumps and bruises, and you're going to wake up sore the next day, and we all expect that. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything. I sometimes do like recovery center stuff, but I think my big thing is just stretching and trying to you just try to avoid, you know, when you're doing the stunts, just try to avoid as much as possible, you know, finding those bumpy parts of your body to land on, like your elbows and your knees and your hips and your head. So yeah,
when I look into stunts, it looks so cool, but I'm also like, this could go wrong. Like you could like hit your leg or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you had any like set mishaps that you could talk about, that you like hit your leg wrong or you twisted your ankle or something like that?
I've been pretty lucky on set. I mean, most of my, like, I haven't had a major injury. You know, I've had things that are, I guess, like, you know, you're a bit sore for a few days, or but I've been pretty lucky. You know, I'd really try to, you try to look after yourself, because as much as you want to do a really big stunt and make it look gnarly, if you go too hard, you're not going to work the next day, you know, or you might find yourself off the job. So you've really got to look after yourself first, and you know, you're trying to make the stunt or whatever you're doing, trying to make it look like it hurts, or, you know, it's painful. But You know, there's ways of whether it's wearing protective gear or they're hiding little, you know, mats underneath the set that you're about to hit. So yeah.
I'm glad that you haven't gone through any of those major injuries, because sometimes you hear about crazy stuff that happens on set, and it's very good to avoid all of those. But
yeah.
Now, it's no secret that I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, even though I don't have all the posters and junk. I play every video game. My first Mortal Kombat video game was, I believe, Mortal Kombat 9, and then I went backwards to play all of the older ones. It's either Mortal Kombat 9 or Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. And I'm super excited that you're Kabal, and I'm speaking to Kabal because Kabal is one of my favorite characters because I get to annoy people with him. And to go into that, there's a move Kabal has where he's kind of like the Flash, because he's like super fast, he goes like zip back and forth. And there's a move, and I think Mortal Kombat 9 and 11, where he like zips super fast, and then he grabs his like two sword things and he hooks them and like floors you. And I use that against my little brother all the time in matches, and he gets so mad he like slaps the controller. But man, I really like Kabal because I just love his costume and of course the mask. In the middle of Mortal Kombat March, for my second interview for that, I wanted to ask, what is your history with this franchise pre-working on this movie?
Man, I played, like I said before, I didn't have consoles, but I definitely played the early games on the Sega Master System when I was a young boy. So I remember loving it, you know, playing as Liu Kang, you know, doing the bicycle kick or shooting fireballs. I think other characters I like to play was like Johnny Cage or Striker. But yeah, man, I didn't really play it as Kabal. He wasn't one of my mains, but you know, when I found out I had the role, I definitely familiarized myself with Mortal Kombat again. So I played number 11, and I watched all of the cutscenes. You know, the people make them into movies on YouTube, so you can just watch them as a movie. So it was really good to get that understanding of the universe. And it was, you know, they restarted the universe in Mortal Kombat 9. So it was a good place to start from. But, you know, there's lots of lore, and obviously, you know, Kabal, he's different in different iterations of Mortal Kombat. You know, he's got a Western accent in one of them, and then he's got a New York accent in one of them, and then he's like Spanish looking in number 11. So, you know, yeah, just it was good, and I did a lot of research, and yeah, I look forward to you all seeing Kabal on the big screen.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, my mom called me. I'll be right back. I don't mean to do this.
No worries, man.
This happens. I'll be right back. Like, give me a couple seconds. Sorry. All right. But no, yeah, that's really cool that you started off with 9, because that's my first time playing Mortal Kombat. Or looking through it all. Kabal was in the trailer. I saw that you posted the little still. Before we talk about that, what do you think about the trailer as a whole? Because it broke records.
It did, man. It was, which is really cool to see. You know, when you're in a movie, you want it to do well, and it had a really great reception from fans, and I guess people that probably aren't even fans, maybe you know, played it or knew about it. And beating you know, like Deadpool and Logan, you know, other Red Band trailers, it's a pretty big thing. So we're all really happy. I thought the trailer was great. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, it didn't. You know, people might look at it and go, "Wow, they showed us too much," but you know, having worked on the film, I'm like, no, you didn't see as much as you think you saw. You know, there's a lot. You know, there's characters you didn't see, and you know, all this stuff. Yeah, so
I'm really excited because Todd Garner, the producer, posted like a still of Mortal Kombat Armageddon characters, and there was like a whole slew of them. So I'm really excited to see what characters they're bringing that we haven't seen. Obviously, we saw Goro, which looks freaking fantastic. He looks so cool. Oh my gosh, I freaked out when I saw him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, Goro. We work with him closely. He's so big, you know, crazy. I don't know where he got his 4 arms from, you know.
Yeah, it looks so good. I don't know how you guys got to look so good, and that's just a credit to everyone who worked on it. And when this movie does become a massive success, that we get a second one, and you guys go deeper into the lore, because Mortal Kombat has a rich like lore. There's so much stuff, so many characters, and so many places that you could go to within the universe through all these different types of characters, because each character brings a whole different side of the universe. Like Kano is a part of I forgot what clan he's a part of. They told me Mortal Kombat 9, not Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat
the Black Dragon. You know?
Yes, the Black Dragon. There you go. You know more than me.
I know about that stuff.
Yeah. No, Kabal's in the Black Dragon too as well. So I know that because of Kano and Kabal shared the scene in Mortal Kombat 9. But you posted under your Instagram post that you can't wait for us to see the mask, and I just want to know, what was your reaction to seeing the mask?
And it looks pretty good, you know, like, and obviously with all their costumes, they have a bit of leeway as to changing things. You know, it's not gonna, none of the costumes look exactly like a game costume, and it's the same within the games. You know, number 9's costume is different to number 11's costume, so they changed it a little bit. It doesn't look, but it's also very familiar. You know, it's obviously Kabal when you see it. So I think it looks cool. I think you guys are gonna love it. Yeah.
Guys, I can't wait.
You know,
I'm really
everyone's
excited.
talking. It's like, no, I love this costume. This costume is the best. This costume. Wait till you see Kabal. I reckon he's gonna be the best costume. I think people are gonna, you know, really flip their lid when they see it.
Man, you just get me more excited for this movie, because I really can't wait until it comes. I just love what they're doing with it. I love the costumes. I know some people were complaining about the costumes, but to the people who were complaining, I just feel like they haven't played Mortal Kombat in a while, because they're very reminiscent. Like, gosh, I don't want to mess his name up. The guy who plays Scorpion, his costume is very reminiscent of the recent Mortal Kombat 11 with the hood and like the mask on. And then Sub-Zero is very reminiscent of Mortal Kombat X is a costume because of the mask and the little piece in the middle. So it's obviously taking different pieces from Mortal Kombat lore to help build these costumes, and I'm really freaking in love with them. I'm really excited to see what they got going on. I'm excited to see the fatalities, because I heard fatalities are in this movie, and we saw it at the end of the trailer where Kano like ripped somebody's heart out. So I'm really excited to see all of that. What are you most excited, obviously besides Kano, for fans to see in this film?
I don't think you've seen much of the fighting yet. I think you, like, in the trailer, you really didn't get a good grasp of the fighting, the martial arts, the different styles. You know, I know that there's been some articles come out recently and they've touched on it. So I'm really excited for you to see the different styles, I guess, each character has. I'm obviously I can't wait for you all to see Kabal. You know, he's obviously, you know, my character, and I feel like, you know, there's some characters in there that are trying to just hold off from really showing, because you got to save something for the movie. You know, you want to, if you see it all before the movie, you know, you want to have some wow while watching it. So you know, they can keep the front costume, you know, the front of my costume a secret, and then you watch the movie, and I think it's gonna you know, get people really excited, and you know, and I think like just the costume design is like a big thing for me working in films. I love just the different costumes and getting to wear different costumes, you know, being alien, or, you know, wearing something from the medieval era, or whatever it is. And the different costumes that, like, there's so much attention to detail. So I can't wait for you to see the costumes in action.
I can't wait either. Obviously, I don't want to go into too much because you can't say too much, and I want to say some stuff for the movie, obviously.
That's it, mate. Got to tiptoe around these things. You know, obviously there's some things, you know, like there's the trailer's out now, so you can talk about things that are within the trailer, and you know, within all the interviews and stuff that have already sort of coming out. But yeah, you definitely, you gotta. I've got to watch what I say.
One last question, because this is known now because we saw the still. What was it like working with Ludi Lin?
Yeah, Ludi's great. He's an interesting character, but I got along with him well. You know, we'd share rides out to set some days, and yeah, he's a lovely guy. He was really good. I can't say too much because you know, we'll give away, I guess, plot things. But yeah, we worked closely together, Ludi and I. So he's a good bloke. Yeah.
Can't wait to see Liu Kang. Now, there's one thing I was interested on because I saw you posted on your Instagram. There was a picture you had was Tamara Morrison getting big now because of the Mandalorian. He's back as Boba Fett. What was it like working with him, and what was that on? If you could talk about that.
No, yeah, well, that movie's out. So that was a like an independent Australian film called Occupation Rainfall. And I mean, I say independent, but it still had quite a large budget, up in the millions. You know, and Tim Ware, he's a legend. You know, he's so good to work with. You know, we chatted, and I remember like we were just chatting. I was telling him I had a boxing match coming up, and he's like, you know, we're sparring like in the thing. Like he's like, yeah, hit my hands. And I'm like, like got to sort of act professional here, man. Like, you know, the director's trying to explain his stuff. He's like, yeah, jab, cross, jab. You know, he's just such a you know, high energy guy, and you know, I've followed his career for a long time. You know, since some of the earlier Star Wars, and you know, from his movie Once Were Warriors, a very famous New Zealand movie. And he's done a lot of stuff. A lot of things you sort of don't know he's done. Like he was in Green Lantern and played Abin Sur, and obviously Aquaman, and so he's had a really prolific career, and it's good to see him still going. And it's so cool that he got to reprise his role as Boba Fett. You know.
Yeah, I was really glad to see that they didn't replace him with someone else, and they brought him back. And he had such a good time. You can tell I had so much fun on that set. Had a ton of fun on that. So, what types of fighting do you gravitate towards? Like, I mean, art forms of fighting. You know, there's like karate, then there's Muay Thai, and then there's all these types of like styles of fighting. So, which is your favorite?
Well, I spent most of my time doing boxing, and I really enjoyed boxing. I love the footwork and the speed of it. I'm a big guy, you know, 6'3", I'm 100 kilos. So I don't know what that is like in pounds, 250 or something. I don't know, maybe not that much. But so, you know, there's certain like I really like the tricking sort of stuff there, but also being big, that's a lot of weight coming down on your knees. So I've got to sort of limit what I do there as far as the jumping, spinning kicks, and I can do a few, you know, the basic things. But I sort of, yeah, I guess I do more like boxing, and I was doing a little bit of Muay Thai, and I tried judo and jiu-jitsu. At the moment, my latest martial art I've been doing for a while has been Kung Fu, which I really enjoy. I think it's quite different to boxing. It's more of an art form, and it lends itself really well to filming like stunts and fight choreography. And you get to use a lot of weapons in Kung Fu, like the broadsword and the bow staff, which I'm sort of playing with the most. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is always so cool to me. If I was to ever get into a form of fighting, I tried to get into. My mom tried to get me and my brother into karate. Obviously, I didn't go to. I think we missed a couple lessons or something. I really can't remember. I just know I never got to do it, but I'm hoping to do it as I go into college, get more into that sort of type of stuff. Get ready to
Cobra Kai. You know, I think it's bringing back a little bit of excitement around karate. You know, I think I did it as a teenager. I did it for a year. You know, I mean, those the belt martial arts is like karate and taekwondo. You know, they're very rigid with what you have to learn, and they're showing up and making sure you do all your things. I mean, which I'm sort of like I was looking into it the other day, redoing taekwondo, and they said, well, you have to start from white belt, and I wasn't allowed to learn what blue belt and you know, the other, but I can already do that, you know, like, so it was really, I'm like, well, there's no point me doing this because I don't have the time to start from white belt. You know, I need to be learning the higher end stuff now. So yeah, I sort of just, you know, I've trained with people who are happy to show me things, and yeah, I think, like, you know, I would suggest something like boxing or Muay Thai, you know, where it's like you sort of get learned by getting thrown in the deep end in a way, you know, and it's, you know, obviously those styles go well with MMA and stuff, you know, so it's real fighting, you know. So I mean, I've never been in a real fight, you know. I try to avoid conflict. But I think it's great. It's great to learn discipline through martial arts, and I think it also teaches you that you're not as tough as you think you are. Not you or me, but like people think that that I lift weights, I'm really strong. But go put them in the ring with a trained fighter, and they're going to work out real quick that they're not as not as good of a fighter or tough as they think they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people need. When you said that, I think it's some people at my school who think they just all big and tough because they have muscle, but it's like if I get that scale out, you know what I'm saying? No,
yeah, I mean, having muscle's one thing, but you got to learn how to use it.
Use it right.
But obviously, if you're a heavy, muscly guy, you're going to have a lot of weight behind your punches. But if you have good footwork and you know how to get out of the way of punches, you can tire that guy out really quickly. But I think it's good to avoid conflict. You want to sort of, because street fighting, it can go really wrong. Like, it can go really bad. People falling over, hitting their heads on concrete and stuff. So it changes people's worlds. With king hits and all that, killing people where they didn't mean to. It's if you like fighting and you need to use your testosterone somewhere, go join a boxing gym or a Muay Thai gym, and let it out there. You'll find people that actually fight in Muay Thai gyms and boxing gyms. They won't fight in the street because they understand martial arts and how dangerous it can be. Yeah.
What do you hope? For the future of your career, what do you want to do, or what goals do you want to accomplish moving forward? Obviously, you're in these two big blockbuster films. What do you see that is next for you?
Obviously I've had a couple of acting roles recently, and I really enjoy acting. I started off wanting to be an actor and then moved into stunts, and then have been given acting as well. But I'm leaning more towards the stunt world. I think it's almost not easier to make it, but you're going to get work more consistently as a stuntman opposed to an actor, unless you're a big name, in Hollywood, which is very hard to get to that point. I'm not going to say no to acting work if I get offered a decent role that pays well, and I would be very grateful and enjoy hell out of it. But my passion and what I've been working towards the most is stunts, so that's where I'll continue. And I just want to continue working on these big fun jobs, I've count myself very grateful for the few opportunities I've had. I'm still very new. I think I'm very new still. People might look at me and go, "Well, you've had a big career already." It's like, yeah, but that all really happened in only the space of a year or a year and a half. So I've still got a lot to learn, and I just want to keep learning and be able to pass on my knowledge in the future when I'm ready to pass it on, and going to be telling people the right things. So that might go down as being, whether it's a teacher or a stunt coordinator down the track. Looking 10 years from now, because of, like I said, got a lot to learn, and there's a lot of better people out there than myself. So when I can, be at their level, that's when I'll start to look into that stuff. But I think it's important to pass on knowledge, and I like the idea of that.
Yeah, that's the funnest part about doing something you love. You're able to learn and teach others and help them along the way. So that's always an amazing thing. Between Mortal Kombat and Godzilla, which are you most excited for fans to see?
Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I'm really stoked with Godzilla and that, but I had more to do with Mortal Kombat than I did with Godzilla. So even though I got to act and stunt double on Godzilla, as far as like being a part of Mortal Kombat in the pre-production stages and sort of working on that for a bit longer, and I think it's also like it's newer. They've had a few Godzilla and Kong movies of recent years, because we haven't done Mortal Kombat for 20 plus years. So it's I'm excited for it to be out there in the open again, live action, and yeah, I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait myself. Like you said, even though it's cheesy, I love the first Mortal Kombat film. I'm a really big fan of that one. Now we're gonna transition to the fun part of the interviews. I can't speak. Fun part of the interview is called Weird and Wacky, which is a segment where I ask you a series of random and wacky questions and have a minute to answer them. The record is held by another Aussie native who answered a record of 13 questions, Ben Pendergrass. Do you think you could beat him?
I don't know. No. See how good my improv skills are, right?
All right.
We'll see. All right, go. We'll see how we go.
All right, I'm about to set the timer in 3, 2, 1. Longest time period without taking a shower?
A day.
Favorite movie?
Jurassic Park.
Nastiest food you've ever eaten?
Brussels sprouts.
Food you refuse to cook?
Steak.
A video game you wish you had played as younger?
Final Fantasy.
A video game system you wish you had?
PS5.
Who doesn't? A superpower you wish you had?
Flight.
Favorite movie quote?
Clever girl.
Popular song that you can't stand? 8.
Justin Bieber's one. I can't
Favorite
think of
shoes?
it. Favorite what?
Favorite shoes?
Sorry. Damn. I like the Lumineers. It's a folk band. It's not. Yeah, they're fairly well known within the folk pop world, alternate music. But it's my guilty pleasure, the Lumineers.
All right. Well, you answered 10 questions, which is really good. But because usually people get to I want to say the average usually is 8 to 7. So you did better than the average, which is good. But obviously you didn't beat Ben. But next time,
I just lied. I was trying to be truthful, with my thought. The thought I could have just said anything and lied. Could have done better.
No, you're good. I appreciate it. Now, this is my last question I have to ask you. Before I ask you, I just want to say thank you so much again. It's really been so much fun getting to talk to you, know about you more. I'm really excited for the future of your career. Obviously, I can't wait until Mortal Kombat. I hope you had a good time, and just thank you so much. A final question to you is, what is your current message to the world during these times that we live in? Obviously, we have a global pandemic. Protests still going on. There's voting happening. There are laws being passed. People are scared or in need of hope. What would you say to people who are in need of that hope?
I think I'd like to say find what makes you happy. Things you can do that don't cost you a lot. Things that make you happy, and follow that. And eventually, if you follow that long enough, you can make money and make a living from it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that was my interview with Daniel Nelson. Daniel, is there anything you want to plug before you head off?
No, man. I just want to say to you, keep going with this. Keep doing it. It's everyone starts somewhere, man. I've got a lot of short films that I did when I was in my early 20s that I hope never see the light of day. So keep going, and you never know what you're going to be doing in a couple of years with interviews, and the more you do of something, the better you get. So keep doing this, man, and I hope you get some awesome interviews in the future, and look forward to following you as well, mate.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. It really does. And have an amazing day, and please stay safe. Thank you. Bye, guys.